Yeah, Alex, just want to start off with the overview. How much better do you feel like your defense played today? How much of a difference do you think those guys coming back from an injury, Turner Yell, DJ, Jalen Redmond made in that performance, and how much of it was just the rest of the group playing better?
Yeah, I think it's everything. I certainly think, I probably saw what you saw in terms of just the overall feel of it. It felt better. It felt like more intentional work, which kind of coincided with more intentional work I felt over the course of the week in preparation. Obviously there's missed opportunities in that, and you're always going to have some, and those are the ones that are going to frustrate you. There's more better, but there's more better football, on display. I think as I would evaluate in real time, and we'll attack those things that we got to get better at. Still with opportunities at the catch point. Got to be more competitive in those instances. I think number one, you got to make sure that you got guys in position to do that. Again, based on my vantage point, that certainly was the case today. Still, frustrated in the inability to get more of those on the ground. So obviously, the work continues. But no, I was pleased with the feel. I was pleased with the some progress, and we got some young guys in there at the end. Unfortunately, Jordan kind of got banged up, but it was good to get some of those guys in too.
John Shin.
Yeah, Alex, I wanted to ask you about when did the decision to move Key Lawrence to cornerback come about, and how did that kind of impact the play today?
Well, I think a couple things. I think number one, our patience is at zero when it comes to individuals. Whether it's from a preparation standpoint, not attacking the work week, or guys from a performance standpoint. As you go into week 9, and so that would be one. And I think 2 or 1A on that would be. Keyshawn has played, I think, to a level over the last couple of weeks when Delaire was out to establish himself as a starter on our defense. And so, it's our responsibility. And as I think it was a text message on Sunday night, I said, what do you think about playing corner? You deserve to be a starter. And you also got like a guy that doesn't bat an eye. I can't remember his exact words, but anyway, was down into it. That's that's roll and attack the week, and continue to just get better in that. And I think he had made some plays today, and a couple others that I think he can and will make in the future. And so looking for playmakers in the secondary, and then trying to find the best 11 guys. And like I said, I think he's kind of established himself as being a starter, and it's our job to find the right spot for him.
John Hoover.
Alex, on the takeaways, you keep saying turnover equal victories, but you get batted balls and you get stripped balls and stuff like that. Is that just merely effort? Is it guys doing their job? How would you characterize that?
Yeah, I would say effort and intent. The ball has a tendency not to come out unless you try, have at least some attempt at it. We gave a count to them this week. What we did. We've kept track of strips over the course of practice, like in fall camp and some of those things. And so the thing we looked at this week was missed strip attempts in practice. I think on Tuesday we missed 30 some odd strip attempts, meaning that the ball carrier's there. I'm around the pile. I could get a punch at her. I could rake at the thing, miss those opportunities. And one of the messages to them was, how many strip attempts does it take to get one ball out, and having a healthy respect for that. So there's that effort, but there's that intent is and really making a point. I think there was a slant caught maybe on DJ, and he's kind of stripping it out and kind of gets drug of a few yards, and okay, you're the first tackler, get it out, but really use that to highlight to the guys on the sideline, saying, why on earth is he the only one hanging on to a ball carrier? Where'd you end up? And so just conscious, consistent on from a messaging standpoint for us, and then trying to put it really in the forefront consciously in their brains to go do those things. And so it's going to have a real tell here in the final month of the season in terms of where that takeaway count goes for us.
Brandon Drum.
Hey, Alex. I asked Lincoln the same question. As far as Key Lawrence and DTY, obviously the move with Key to corner, his emotion that he played with, his physicality, and then how much difference does that make for you all in the secondary, along with DTY coming back and just his ability to play up in the run game, his run fits, and obviously the screen game as well.
Sure. And I think, for DTY, I think, just the, first game out, hasn't played in several weeks and really the first week of practice. So I thought he missed a couple opportunities early on. I think he'd feel the same way, but it's good to have him back out there, and he'll just, he's been such a steady player for us and will continue to be. It puts us in a position where we think we can get our 11 best guys out there. Maybe it's a move that you otherwise would have made 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. Maybe I don't, obviously situations present themselves that we couldn't do some of those things, but also it's a message to some of the other guys is the stakes have been raised. It's week 9 of the season. We're going to the final month. We got 3 regular season games left. Tryouts are over. It's time for the top guys to rise to the occasion. So in every respect for both the guys behind or guys who maybe have played some snaps in the secondary, and also for a guy like Key is, we got to crank this thing up a little bit. And I thought there was at least some semblance of progress made today. Again, we got to get some of those balls out now. I think is in a position to get the 11 best guys on the field, and we'll continue to look at that.
Are you happy with the performance of the defense after what you've seen the last few weeks?
Yeah, I am. I'm happy. 9-0. I'm happy.
Barry?
I haven't watched the film yet, Brandon.
Yeah, Alex, you told us, and we talked about your chat with Isaiah Thomas coming off the field in Lawrence. Looked like he had a monster game today. He had 2 tips and the strip sack. Was he sort of symbolic of the more aggressive tone of the defense today? Just making plays, seeking out the ball, it seemed like, at all costs.
Yeah, I think without question, I think he's one of those guys that we lean on, we look to make an impact play. And this regard, it's one of those guys, kind of think about Ronnie Perkins in the past. Like, it doesn't matter the call. The call has nothing to do with it. You just have this feeling at some point that they're going to break through and make a big play for you. And that strip sack, and I don't know what the scoreboard was at the point, but just the visual, that's something that. We talked to these guys about, making a play to create a moment that can create some semblance of a tidal wave in terms of, you have no idea the impact it can have past that, both on yourself, your career, our defense, and the guys around you in that. And so, no, I mean, we were talking off the field, we got to fix it. That's he's one of those guys that I couldn't have any more respect for. And I think he's one of those guys that is a great visual to a lot of our younger guys that maybe didn't have great success early on in his career, and just kept swinging, man. Just kept swinging, kept working, and we're obviously excited to have him, and it's fun to have him, or see the some results today for him. So that's something that we're going to need this last month.
Do you have any idea the ratio of how much he played inside and outside today?
I'd have to look back on it. I mean, I think it was a little bit more inside still. With Jalen Redmond still kind of, worked him in a little bit, which was really good. And obviously with the bye week and 2 weeks from now, expect that rep count to go up even higher. But no, that's something we'll continue to look at. I mean, obviously going into the season, I had the anticipation of him, playing more on the outside. Haven't been able to do that as much. But I think. No, I don't think it's coincidence that maybe got a little bit more production because of that. So that's something we'll continue to look to do.
Myron?
How tough is it to move from safety to corner this late in the season? You don't usually see that anyway. It's usually corner to safety, but just talk about the move for Keita this late in the year. How tough is that?
No, you're absolutely right. That's not something that from a coach standpoint that you look to do necessarily. And believe me, there's a lot of conversation myself, Coach Manning, Coach Riley, and probably went every which way in terms of, kind of coming up with, the positives. The negatives are pretty obvious, but what the positives could possibly be for us. And the one thing, Coach Riley and myself, it really came down to, let's see what he thinks. because this is one of those things where, and really the chief thing that, we don't ask players, okay, what do you think, how we should progress? But really, like if he balks at it, if you say, hey, what do you think about corner? And he says, I don't know, or something like that, that's going to kind of speak to this late in the season. It's not fair to him to do something like that. But he jumped at it and had no hesitation and went right into the work week on Monday and jumped out there. And, so that's a tall order without question. And all of a sudden you go out there and, first play of the game, second play of the game, to try to fade you up, which they're obviously going to do. We get it. But he's one of the fastest guys on the team. He's physical. He's only going to continue to get better. And no, I think it'll be a move, hopefully we look back on and say it has a major impact on our secondary here at the end of the year.
James Hale.
Alex, you work with the back end, the secondary. They made plays today. I didn't see a lot of people running free. It looked like they were more competitive. Your thoughts on how your back seven kind of played? Because I know the linebackers play a part of that in pass. So, how did you feel like everything went back there?
No, I think, probably mixed reviews. I mean, I think sometimes when the scoreboard starts to get tilted, obviously the ball starts going in the air more. And
right.
Some of the slant game in that, I thought we were in the competitive situations to make a play on the ball. Obviously, the first touchdown of the game, you got a corner in place, a safety on top. We got those ones they got to be ours, man. They got to be. And we haven't made enough of those over the course of the season. No, I thought there just was a little bit more of an aggressive mindset, maybe. Again, we'll look at the film. I thought, and then that's a starting point. Why now? Where's that been necessarily? In some cases, there's been young players trying to figure it out. Thrust in the roles that they didn't anticipate. We didn't anticipate, and play more snaps than maybe we thought. But no, I think it's a step. I do. I mean, I think that, again, the numbers get a little bit skewed. You throw on another 50, 60 yards there at the end of the game. But no, I think I just keep circling competitive at the catch point, and it's you're not going to make them all, but a little bit more violence at that point, but can really make an impact.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Time for two more. Kerry.
Hey, Alex. I know it was a Kansas State game, I think, when you kind of, voiced your frustrations at practice habits and things like that. How much does this game, a game like this mean for you in seeing guys like, veterans like Justin Broyles and Pat Fields make plays to kind of, now you can kind of go back to your guys that aren't having the great practice habits to say, I'm not just yelling at you for no reason.
Well, it's a great point. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. And then, really what it comes down to is when you say, okay, what's not a great practice? That we go out there and we have no effort or something along those lines, we'd have bigger issues. And believe me, we wouldn't be, at 8-0, 7-0, 6-0 if we're not giving any effort at practice. It's there's a difference between hard work and competitive work. You got to there's got to be intent to be competitive. I am scratching and clawing every single day in practice, not just to prepare for that particular opponent, but also get better at my craft, knowing that the speed of the game, the physicality of the game is coming on Saturday. You can do hard stuff and run around and check the box and okay, this is how they line up. This is the call I'm going to have to make. But you can do those things without really the intent of competitiveness, and the respect for the game of football, understanding that, if you're not going 1,000 miles an hour over the course of the week, and it's 7 days between physical reps and intentional reps of your technique and your craft, your habits are going to catch up with you at some point. And so that was really the message is don't get lost in I work hard. It's making sure that there's intention behind those things that I'm doing to prepare to play my ultimate game each and every Saturday. That's what's required in this sport, and so I think it is a good visual for the guys, and making sure that an intentional week of practice turns into a little bit more intentional performance, and you're never where you want to be necessarily, but hopefully speaks to a little bit more of a visual as opposed to just a coach, as you mentioned, a coach just barking at you saying it's not good enough.
Also, I hope you understand this comes from joking perspective, but why did it take Isaiah Thomas so long to figure out he was so tall and that he could bat down passes at the line of scrimmage?
No, I know it. And you know, that's one of those things when you talk about being on the inside versus outside, that a lot of that has something to do with that. You know, on the inside, you can kind of get, you know, you're mashing so much, you know, if you look over and not saying a defensive tackle can get a handle on football, but you know, on those edges, especially in 3-step drop game, so often it's on that perimeter. So to have an edge guy, you know, throw a paw up there, obviously has a huge impact.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Last one, back to Ryan Aber.
Yeah, Alex, you touched on it a little bit earlier talking about Isaiah, but Jalen Redmond, what'd you make of his game tonight? You know, even in, like you said, limited action, and how important can he be for this defense here moving forward after the bye week?
Well, you know, I don't want to put too much on him, you know, but you know, he's been an impactful guy in his career here. Obviously, we were out of him a year ago, and you know, really put in a lot of work. You talk about a guy more intentional, and you know, using that same term, you know, really saw a guy in you know, in spring and fall with the intention of getting better at his craft. You know, he was not one of those guys. You know, he didn't just come back, you know, and all of a sudden, you know, I'm back, guys, and kind of fall in the line. I mean, I think he's one of those guys that you know, really worked at it and then practiced you know, harder and practiced in like a guy that hadn't played in a year, you know, and had a healthy respect for the game and was really progressing for us and had an impact for us early on in the year. And then he's off the field again. And then you feel for him, because that's kind of been the story of his career so far, is just, you know, kind of up and down just from an injury standpoint. So no, I mean, we're going to ask a lot of him here in this last month. There's no doubt about it. And you know, obviously the other guys around him got to play, to his standards as well. But I think it's also a visual for some of those inside guys. Also, the rep count goes a little bit the other way for you, you know, and so you know, the idea being that you play that much better football, and also you better practice that much better, you know, not knowing that you're going to split those reps. There's one more slice to the pie type of deal. So no, we're excited. Believe me, they're seeing 31 out there that makes you awfully happy defensively.
I really appreciate it, Alex.